G'day and welcome to another edition of Hef's Homebrew. Today we're having a look at my homebrewed Australian lager using the easy extract method as shown by Little John. We'll have a quick chat about how this beer finished up before we get into the tasting. So finished at 10:10. Now, as I explained in the brew day video, something strange went on with the gravity reading taken on brew day. I got 1060, checked it multiple times, but I don't think that was correct. I ended up adding an extra 2 litres of water, pardon me, to try to bring it down a little bit, but it was still at 1060. So what I'm going to do is, if I go off the reading, the estimate from the brewing software that I used, and punch in 1010 as the final gravity, this beer doesn't come out at 6.5% like it would at 1060. I think it comes out at about 4.2%. I have had a couple of tasters already, and that seems reasonably accurate to me. So it's been in the keg for 3 weeks. As you can see, it hasn't dropped quite as clear as I thought it might have by this point. If you've got any ideas as to why that might be the case, how much longer it might need before it does clear up, I'd be happy to hear it. Drop a comment down below. At the moment, it is a somewhat hazy golden colour. It did pour with just over a finger of just off-white head, I would say. I do know that the carbonation is lightish to medium. It's hard to tell with the haze going on at the moment. I set the PSI at 12 and just left it for 2 weeks, so set and forget was my carving method. Alright, let's go in for the aroma. I can see it, but there you go. You can maybe see some bubbles coming up. Aroma. Alright, the aroma is dominated by the malt. There's just a nice, sweet grain aroma. Touch of breadiness to it, I think. And a little bit of the Pride of Ringwood hops coming through as well, so just a hint of kind of an earthiness to it. All right, let's go in for the taste. Cheers. Okay, body is light to medium, leaning towards medium. The finish is drying, but it's certainly not an extra dry finish, to use a term that was utilised by one of the major brewing companies for one of their dry lagers. The bitterness is low to medium. And the flavour profile, there's a nice hit of sweet malt at the front end. Towards the back end and in the finish, that's where some of the Pride of Ringwood hop flavour is coming through. Getting some nice lacing there on the glass. The carbonation in the mouth, as I said earlier, it's light to medium. probably closer to medium. It's very easy drinking. It's very sessionable. In terms of the brewing method and how that translates into the flavour compared to using a kit, there's no comparison. I've done a few kit brews that I've thought are pretty good and have minimal to almost no kit twang, but this is light years ahead of any of those, I must say. It's a method that I'm going to use probably from now on, apart from maybe my stout, although I would like to experiment with using this method to brew something like that as well. How does it compare to all grain? I've tasted all grain homebrew, but I've never brewed myself using the method. But you'd be hard pressed, I think, to tell the difference. Certainly if you gave this beer to a lager drinker, a beer enthusiast, I'm not sure that they would pick that it's not an all grain brew. Would a good home brewer be able to tell the difference, or a commercial brewer? Possibly, but it's a very good beer. It's a really nice beer. It's an easy drinking Australian lager. It's got a nice sweet malt backbone. There's a little bit of kind of breadiness to it. It does have the Carahell in there, in the malt. So it was Pilsner malt, Carahell malt, and then the extract was extra light and light dry malt along with some dextrose. So that's certainly coming through. It's brilliant. In terms of kegging versus bottling, because this is the first brew that I've kegged, as I explained in the brew day video, that day was not without incident. Neither was the kegging, to be honest. Without going into too much detail, lesson learned for next time, that I need to be more precise in terms of if I'm going to brew greater than 20 litres, I need to be more precise in keeping track of how much liquid is actually going into the keg, so I've got a better idea of when to stop filling the keg. If you've done that yourself, then you might recognise what happened to me. If I had to give it a score out of 5, look, it's easily a 4.5 out of 5. I am going to brew it again, absolutely. I wouldn't mind experimenting a little bit with the recipe, but it's so good as it is. I don't know if I'd bother, actually. I did have visions of trying to alter it to replicate particular Australian macro lagers, but as I say, I don't know if I want to. It's that good as it is. In terms of next brews, my fermenting fridge has completely carked it, so I need to get a new fermenting fridge before I brew again. I want to get this one done again because I want to have a full keg of this over summer, and I also want to brew Little John's Schwarzbier, so dark lager, using this method, which is an adaptation of Skid Baxter's Schwarzbier. So They're the next two beers that I plan on brewing once I get a fermenting fridge. Hopefully that won't be too far away, and I've got to get a second keg as well so I can have both of those beers up and running. So there you go. Great beer. Highly recommend the method. Highly recommend having a look at Little John's videos if you're interested in doing it, because he explains it and shows a lot more than I did in my brew day video. Another thing I would like to do, and I'm going to finish up in a moment, it's a long video, is do a kegging versus bottling comparison. I did bottle some. Whether or not I'm going to do a side-by-side, I'm not too sure, but I thought it might be helpful. I know there's lots out there already, both in video and written form, but just my opinion, my experience in kegging versus bottling. But until then, cheers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Hef's Homebrew.